Yeah,
besides
I
that
was going to
free
say
government system.
initially I felt like that was so stupid. Like when we looked at the nuclear option, we looked at the Supreme Court stuff. I'm like, how dumb is it that so much of this government relies on people to just behave well? Like, shouldn't some of this stuff be like codified in terms of at least Senate rules, if not, statutorily or constitutionally? But then the more I thought about it, it's like right, you just said it kind of, and we both agree. You can't actually make a system that can defy bad actors. It's not possible. Everybody in
Right.
the system is a bad actor. You can't possibly create a system to contain those people. And the question is how far does the system need to go? Because if you're thinking of like, was there a system that could have stopped Trump from doing the things that he wanted to do, or could have stopped, a corrupt Congress or whatever from doing what they want to do? Because when I look at the Trump stuff, and I think I've said this exact line to you, and I'm saying it more and more. I've said so many times, I'm surprised at how strong our government is. We have like really good guardrails, all this. That what I just said, that's not fucking true. It had nothing. It had a little bit to do with the guardrails and had a little bit to do with our system, but truly, what it had to do with was a lot of really good people that were in this system involved from top to bottom. People who stand for a different version of America than I would ever see, but we're still fundamentally, answering their call at the end of the day to be good American citizens, whether we're talking about Pence, whether we're talking about Barr, whether we're talking about all of the lawyers in the White House, the Hirschmans, the Shorts, all these people. Like all of these people were doing the right thing, not because some institutional protection existed that told them they had to, but because they believe ideologically in some version of America that they were willing to, stick their neck out and defend. And I don't think you could create a system to enforce those protections, because you can always find ways around that system.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is interesting to really contemplate these things, because like a good example, in my opinion, of one that really is unusual to me, like how cohesive it is. Not that it doesn't have its problems, but I mean, look at the United Kingdom, look at the UK. They're a constitutional monarchy, right? So, but their constitution isn't codified the way ours is. I mean, they have a body of law and tradition, but it's like scattered in like 3 or 4 different buckets. They don't have a single written document, and they still have a monarch who is technically sovereign, right? Like the King Charles is above the law. Now, if he did something particularly egregious, I'm sure the Parliament would nip that in the bud. But
Sure. Do you
and
know?
yet,
Do you
I
know
was
that?
just gonna say
Oh
real
God, yeah.
quick, and yet they seem to have their shit together in ways that the United States doesn't, with a codified constitution, checks and balances, a guy who is chief executive but not sovereign. And to me, that's kind of interesting to think about. Like they had their issues with right wing populist Boris Johnson or whatever, but Boris Johnson on his worst day was better than Trump on his best day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting to me that you would think on paper that they'd be more fucked up or have the recipe, the potential to be more fucked up than we are, and yet they're more cohered.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think you could say properly, like it's de jure. It's a constitutional, or it's a monarchical. What is it? Monarchical republic, or what the fuck do you call it? The constitutional monarchy. De
Yeah.
jure, like on paper, they are that, but de facto, like in practice, the monarchy is defunct, right? Because
Right.
I think most people agree that the second the monarch defies, because I think that the king or queen still has to sign everything into legislation, but if they were to refuse, it would be the end of the monarchy, right? They would be overthrown that day.
Right. There would be a Republican government. I mean, the calls for Republicanizing the UK have like really increased since Queen Elizabeth died. Anyway, so I think they're on borrowed time, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, since she's
What's
gone.
up,
I'm sorry,
boys?
you were saying.
Hey, what's up, loser? Oh, also one quick thing before Hutch derails us, because I know he wants to talk about COD. No, I'm just kidding. One thing too that I noticed that was interesting. I'm sketching out this video now that I've got all my clips and everything. So I just, in terms of like what I want the flowchart to look like. One thing I noticed that was really funny with all the conservative theories of law stuff is conservatives had like 3 different huge ways that they wanted to flip the J6, the certification stuff, and all of them rely on these very esoteric theories of like authoritarian power. For Trump, it was this idea of like the unitary executive theory, right? That basically, as the president, he can step into the role of any single person in the executive branch at any point in time that he wants to and do anything he wants for whatever.
Right.
And, yeah, that's always right. For the state legislatures, I was really hoping, maybe you can correct me real quick if I'm wrong, I thought that there was some crazy constitutional, like legal theory about the state legislature theory, but I think it's actually as basic bitch and as in the Constitution, in like 2 lines, it says the state legislatures, and some insanely schizophrenic Republicans have interpreted that to mean, oh my God, the state legislatures could do this in defiance of their governors and their
Right.
state constitutions and their state courts, right? Just
Yeah,
because
no,
it said,
that's
yeah. So
well,
that's
are you talking about independent state legislature theory?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. So there was that interpretation. So you have the unitary executive idea, which is and unconstitutional and not supported by any credible legal scholar, at least not the field. You've got the independent state legislature idea, which is comically fun. And then you had this third idea, which was, you know, how Pence was supposed to defy the ECA because of the 12th Amendment. The idea that the executive branch could just start making constitutional theories up about how they want to defy rules from Congress in order to entrench their power as well. All of these things are powered by these different quasi-authoritarian theories for how to like run the government, and none of these things were like broadly supported by basically anybody, which I just thought was funny and stupid. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, the independent state legislature theory, in my opinion, I don't want to say it's the weakest one. It may be first or second. I think unitary executive theory is interesting to me because there are like two versions of it. You have strong unitary executive theory and weak unitary executive theory. I've read a lot of constitutional scholars who are like, weak unitary executive theory makes sense. This idea that the president's obviously supposed to be the most powerful and the pinnacle of the executive branch and have broad plenary power, like, you know, but that it's not totally uncheckable. The Congress is supposed to be able to intrude on executive branch duties. They're supposed to be able to, you know, you have Senate confirmation of executive branch officials, so that's a check of the legislature interfering, quote unquote, with the executive. And even like right now, so under current federal law, and maybe the Supreme Court would decide differently, but like special counsels, like the president doesn't, it's not recognized that the president has the power to fire a special counsel. They have to order the attorney general to fire the special counsel. Like it's strange where, you know, we talk about how all of their power derives from the president, right? Which is true, but there's supposed to be like certain carve outs. So I think we all buy into unitary executive theory, just the weak version where it's like there are asterisks there. There's room for Congress and the courts to intervene. Independent state legislature theory is just and I don't know if it's. I still feel that the vice president violating the ECA. I think that's probably the weakest of the three theories. But maybe you disagree. Maybe you think independent state legislature theory is more ridiculous. But
sure. What do you want, Hutch?
I don't know why Josiah invited me. This is a boring conversation.
What the fuck, man? Listen, we're philosophizing. We're philosophizing about government. Destiny and I are world building. How we design a government from top down or bottom up to fix the problems here.
I was supposed to debate somebody tomorrow about who's the bigger threat to democracy, Republicans or Democrats. And I was just thinking today that isn't it funny that in the last 8 years, Republicans have been making a point to say that we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic.
Don't even bring that around here. Hold on. Can you tell me if you agree?
What do you mean by threat to democracy?
Is it the case? I want this not to be the case. And then Connor repeated it in a conversation. Is it the case that Republicans say we're not a democracy, we're a republic because democracy sounds like Democrat and republic sounds like Republican?
I think it's because of the electoral college losses. I think that's their cope. I don't know. I think it's for a few reasons. Why do you think they say it?
I think it is because of what I just said. I think it's because democracy sounds like Democrat and republic sounds like Republican. So they think we're not a democracy, we're a republic.
It's both.
Maybe.
So
because the electoral college has nothing to do with a republic, really, right? Does it?
Well, no, it's just when he lost the popular vote, that was like the big cope in 2016 is, you know, she won the popular vote by 3 million votes. And that's when I noticed them starting to say it more and more. Well, it's like, well, we're not a democracy. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's both. Liah Miller has a really good video essay about like kind of the origins of this cope, and it's both. That there's credible reason to believe that the names, the labels being too similar, like if you keep extolling the virtues of democracy, that just by sheer marketing you're gonna confer more legitimacy to Democrats, the party. But the other thing is the Republicans know that they lack broad popular support, and that they're certainly at the federal level, they need affirmative action in the form of the electoral college and gerrymandering and stuff like that. It's the idea that, we don't care about popular vote. This country was not built on popular vote or popular majorities. It was about protecting the minority from the tyranny of the majority and that sort of shit. It's not just, by the way, I don't know if Connor told you this, but it's not just prominent Republicans. You actually have Republican senators. Mike Lee, who used to be a really respected constitutional scholar, before whatever worm term died in RFK Jr.'s head, was reborn in his. He's the one like really spreading that around. We're not a democracy, we're a republic.
Nice.
Yeah, he tweeted that, and I think it's also a mixture of things where the reason why they call us the Democrat Party is because they don't want to like cede the term democracy to us, and it sounds like rat.
Okay.
Like it's actually like a juvenile kind of a.
I think I grew up listening to so much like Michael Savage and like Ann Coulter and Glenn Beck and all. I interchangeably use Democrat and Democratic. Because it's just out of habit. And I had somebody email me once, I think like 5 years ago, and they were like, "Stop calling them Democrats. That's just a slur." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I had no idea, but I think it actually is. I think you're right on that. Yeah, Democrat is like a slur.
You can call somebody a Democrat.
No, yeah, but when you say the Democrat Party, or the
right, yeah.
So when you debate whether or not so and so is a threat to democracy, make sure you iron out exactly what the prompt means, and that it doesn't mean that Trump is literally 100% going to overthrow democracy. Make sure you have that worked out, Hutch. You don't want to repeat. I don't even know why I agreed
to this, because I feel like we've all probably had this debate like 1,000 times.
Wait, go over this again. What's your debate and who's it with?
Is this guy named Lactoid? Are you guys familiar with him?
Oh God, yeah.
He apparently requested to debate me on Wick's panel. And I was like, oh, okay.
About what?
Yeah, the prompt is, who is more of a threat to democracy, the Democrats or Republicans?
You honestly, okay, hold on. Just, I wasn't joking. You need to 100% clarify what that is beforehand, because we had debates with people that were, some of the most in the world. Wait, you were in that debate?
Yeah, he was there.
I was on here.
Don't forget the crucial lessons of that.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, you were in that debate. Okay, yeah, so then you need to iron out that. Yeah, oh my God, that was.
What was their wiggle room again? I forgot.
Wiggle room. They were just saying threat to democracy means that Donald Trump is going to come in and absolutely you have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's going to destroy democracy in a way that it can never come back. Because remember, when I asked Sean in that panel, wait a second, so using this definition, then the Civil War, was that a threat to democracy? Sean was like, well, that's a good question. I have to think about that. So that means that whatever you're going to prove, you have to prove that Donald Trump's going to do worse than the Civil War. Okay?
Right. But, yeah. The Andrew Wilson tact.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right. Bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.